Welcome back, welcome back, everybody. This is a great time to be a wrestling fan. Welcome back to an Evolved Review. I'm your host, James Caleb Kitchens, and each and every week I'm joined by none other than straight from the SWN, Caleb Stovall. How's it going, man?
Hey, what's going on, man, dude? I could not agree with you more on that statement, man. And I have waited so long to say that statement, and for you to be able to say that statement, like for every wrestling fan to be able to say, like, this is a great time to be a wrestling fan. I mean, it's been that way now for about the past 2 or 3 years, but right now it's kicked into high gear.
Yeah, last Friday night, so we're recording this the Wednesday following CM Punk's debut. So
Yep.
we have you seen Dynamite from tonight yet? Have you watched that?
I have not. I have to watch it after we record this, to be
Yeah.
honest.
Yeah,
So
no worries. I won't spoil anything.
okay,
So no spoilers for this week's Dynamite. I will talk a little bit about some things that aren't spoilery, but that happened. But I don't want to beat around the bush here, guys. If you listen to multiple wrestling podcasts, everyone's talking about this moment, and they all should be talking about this moment.
yep,
We're talking about CM Punk returning, and they sold out a basketball arena without even announcing 100% that he was going to be there. It was just hinted and rumored that he
yeah,
was going to be there, to the point
yeah,
that we talked about it last week. If they don't have him, this is the biggest blunder in professional wrestling.
yeah.
And that's a tall order. I mean, it would have been up there with like the Brawl for All and, the Finger Poke of Doom and
It definitely would have. Like they would have done a Dark Side of the Ring episode of AEW, and it would have been like this was the biggest blunder that they attempted. However, I'll say this: as the day progressed on Friday, there were a lot of reports, and Tony Khan did an interview, and he straight up said, like, because they were like, there's a lot of rumors surrounding the event. Obviously, hint, hint, wink, wink at him, and he just said, "Look, I know what everyone is expecting, and I don't plan on disappointing anyone tonight."
this
So
is so celebratory. I'm drinking out of my Garden City Grappling Crew mug
like, that's awesome.
to
Do you have a
celebrate.
belt?
Do I have the belt?
Yes.
Of course I have the belt. Of course I have the belt.
Oh, awesome. Yes.
I did not crack Sean Legacy's head open with this one. Here it is. This is the an Evolved Review Championship, ladies and gentlemen. It shows up on the podcast every now and then. We were awarded this by WWE and A&E. So
Yes.
cool stuff. But yeah, man. So this moment to me, I mean, I watched it live, and I haven't watched wrestling live other than like pay per view.
Yeah.
And even then, it's never like me chilling at my house watching pay per view. It's like I'll go to somebody's house and we'll all pitch in on something, or
Yeah.
they have the network or whatever. Um, I don't watch anything live on my own in, I don't know, 5 years. I mean, it's been a very long time.
Yeah.
Nothing would have kept me from watching this episode of Rampage. They got, and with Rampage making the numbers that it made, I want to say the rating was 1.6 million. They're
Yeah.
not competing with NXT anymore. They're competing with Raw. And this was on a Friday night at 10 p.m.
Yeah. Well, actually, they're technically competing with SmackDown.
Well, SmackDown's ratings are higher, I think.
Yeah. Well, I was saying like SmackDown is on Friday though.
Well, yeah, but it's not on at the same time, so it doesn't
True.
really. If anything, it helps Rampage, right? Because
Yeah.
SmackDown ends at 10, Rampage starts at 10. So if you're a big wrestling fan, you get done watching SmackDown, you just flip it on over to Rampage, especially after. I mean, there's only been 2 episodes of Rampage, and they were both stellar. I mean, the
Yeah.
first one had the Kenny Omega Christian Cage match that we talked about for the Impact Championship,
Yeah.
which was incredible. And then the second one, of course, was the biggest debut in wrestling. I mean, WWE brings in all these nostalgia acts and, all these big returns without ever building any stars in forever.
Oh, and we'll talk about that coming up.
Yeah, of course, but I mean, this is the kind of thing that they think they're doing when they bring Goldberg back for the 70th time or
Yeah.
Lesnar back for the 70th time. And I mean, I hate to go ahead and start throwing shots at this, but Becky Lynch did
Wah,
nothing.
wah, wah,
Nothing.
wah, wah.
Nothing. She is basically. I'm not gonna say she's ruined because she's a star, but it will take months and months and months for her to be seen as anything other than the same way people see Roman Reigns.
Yeah, they basically pulled what they did with Austin.
Yeah.
It was like you shouldn't have done it. And I was like, wow, her big return, and it's already spoiled. And I just laughed. And then they want to bring back Brock Lesnar and all that shit. Like you said, it's just. And by the way, I don't care what reports say or what anyone says. That was a weak attempt at trying to top what AEW did, and
I
you
mean,
know they were trying to do that.
they were. I mean, they could have brought back anybody they wanted, but the thing about it is, CM Punk's return held so much weight. I mean, just watching that, I felt like I haven't felt in a long time. It just it meant something, but everything in WWE. I mean, we talk a lot about the Sasha and Bianca match from WrestleMania Night 1 and how special of a moment that was. But
Yeah.
that moment was immediately underscored by the fact that you knew it wasn't going anywhere past that. You knew that the very next night WWE would start to and continue to drop the ball. With this thing with CM Punk, man, it felt like a change.
Yep.
Now, I'm not going to say that this week's Dynamite was incredible. I think it's probably the weakest one they've had since probably before the Nick Gage stuff happened. I know you haven't seen it yet, but
Yeah.
it still felt better than anything that WWE has put out probably since WrestleMania. Um, they have a lot of stuff that they're trying to build for All Out. Um, we're going to talk about that card here in a second, but I mean, CM Punk being there, the momentum and the sellout crowd, and
Yeah.
just the magnitude of it all is just
And
it's crazy.
and here was the thing, it was just so masterful the way they did everything. I think everyone realized that like Jim Cornette said it best. And that was how I knew, by the way, this was the greatest thing ever, because literally Jim Cornette, who has never said one good word about AEW other than talking about Cody and Dustin, he loved that match obviously.
Because it
But
was
like,
fantastic.
oh, well, obviously, yes. But like, he has never said anything else good about them. He praised this. He even praised a behind the scenes production video that they did. He tweeted out something. When have you ever heard Jim Cornette say anything good about a behind the scenes thing?
Yeah,
Never.
I mean, I agree, and that video that they put out from the production was incredible. I mean,
I
they've
was.
really learned how to produce TV, and they learned it quick, and they had to learn it quick, but they have learned how to do it. And I think even if Dynamite this week wasn't the amazing to me, the pacing has gotten so good that even if you don't like something, it's gone quickly. And I mean, I don't want to make it sound like there was a bad episode. I mean, they had the Wingmen versus Darby and Moxley and Eddie Kingston.
I was about
And,
to say, how cool was it to see Drake on
yeah,
there?
and Drake had a new look. He had the IRS look with the suspenders going, and
I,
it was awesome, man, to see him on there. Um,
yes,
doing his thing. It was great. But we've all, I mean, you and I have known for a long time that he belongs on a big stage.
of course.
So,
Of course.
it was
I agree completely. But sometimes you're gonna have weak episodes. I mean, you
right.
even know this. Like sometimes, just some things don't click, but at least they still are providing, a pretty good product so far. And here was the thing. I feel as though with CM Punk, right? He's coming in and he's gonna put people over, obviously.
Right.
But it would be stupid of them to not put the belt on him as soon as possible. Other
I worry that they won't do that. I also worry that Darby will beat him, and I really hope they don't go that route. He cannot lose his first match in 7 years.
Yeah, I would say so. But I will say this: even being in Chicago, the Chicago crowd, who clearly was there to see CM Punk, obviously, when they saw Darby and him mention his name, they started chanting Darby.
Here's how I would book it. I would make the match like 20 minutes. Like
Mm.
it needs to be them going at it. It needs to be Darby pulling out all the stops. It needs to be Punk pulling out all the stops. It needs to be knockdown, drag out. Punk pins Darby clean, and then you know after that, like Sting comes up and gets in Punk's face. They do the stare down for a minute. Sting shakes his hand. Darby gets up, shakes his hand. That's how I would do it. Keep them both babyface. Make it look like an honest contest. It doesn't shit on anybody.
I would do you one better. I would have Darby Allin go up for the coffin drop, Punk catch him, and put him in the Anaconda Vice.
Maybe. I don't see. I don't know about a submission, man. A submission holds a different. Like, a submission in wrestling, I don't know that a lot of people really understand that like a submission defeat is so much worse than a pinfall, right? Because you can get rolled up, you can get knocked out, somebody can get lucky, but if you tap out, you gave up, and that's why the "you tapped out" chant is such a big deal, for crowds and things like that. I, I I don't know if they go that route with Darby on his first match. Like I think they both need to look strong. And don't get me wrong, I hate the WWE 50-50 booking thing, but they need to have Punk go on a winning streak.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know where we go from
Well,
here.
Punk
I would
had
love to see him beat Kenny Omega though, but I think we've talked about this in the past, and if that happens, Adam Page is going to get screwed in all this, and I think that's already happening.
Well, I don't think that they I don't think that they realize the timing of everything on that. But um, I was gonna say though, I would definitely have Punk go on a winning streak and everything like that. And by the way, he has a lot of say so, obviously, in what he does. So I don't think like he's gonna lose. I don't think they'll go that route, but either way, I think it's gonna be good either way.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward just to seeing CM Punk. And I was gonna say like the perfect thing that they did with all of this was just very simple. Like, because I don't know if you know this, but Tony Schiavone was originally scheduled to introduce CM Punk. He was there, and he was
Right.
originally still on the format. And he said this on his podcast, but then Tony Khan was like, "No, actually, you know what? We're just gonna have him come out and do everything." And that's all you needed to do because, honest to God, as much as everyone likes his work, I like his work in the ring. People can say whatever they want to or not, but no one can take away that man's ability to cut a promo. I
It was
mean,
definitely the right call.
oh yeah, like his promo, like he's so old school, he makes old school look old. Like,
I mean,
like
I don't know if I would call it old school even. I mean, I guess it kind of is, but his
I'm saying like from that mentality of like the Jerry Jarrett like back in the day, like you tell them a little bit of the truth as much as you can, and then you bring the work. Like you don't just start off with, "Let me tell you, everyone, I'm back and I'm gonna challenge this guy." No, like you bring them in first. Like you make it personal. You talk to them, and then you bring it in. And he did exactly that.
he really did. I thought it was great. Some of the pundits had their stuff to say about it. Booker T said he ruined the moment. I'm like, bro, nobody thinks that. I
How
think
do
that's
you
a
ruin the
product.
movement?
Well, Booker T said, "Oh, well, he chose to talk about WWE for 9 minutes." He didn't. He was
No,
explaining to his fan base why he was gone for 7 years. And if in the process of that he had to tell people that WWE is a shitty place to work for, so be it. I mean, we kind of all already knew that, and he never said the words. He never said WWE, um,
yeah,
or pointed to anybody over there. We all know the story. It's been covered in all the dirt sheets. He's talked about it in interviews. Hell, even John Oliver did a segment on the whole thing.
yes,
So, you know, I thought it was perfect. Well, I hate to call anything in wrestling perfect, but I thought it was as perfect as it could be.
yeah.
I had chills watching the whole thing. I thought it was the perfect thing for them to do, to hand him a mic, let him go out there and talk. Dynamite, they actually did have Shivani introduce him, so that worked. But I mean, I'm glad they didn't wait to the end of the show. I'm glad that, because a lot of people were thinking like they might do that. If they had done that, that crowd would have been chanting CM Punk the entire night over everything that happened.
Which is why they had to go ahead and do it as the very first thing when Rampage opened up.
It was the right call. It was absolutely the right call, and it just felt surreal. Because here's the thing, um, everybody knew, but you didn't 100% know.
Yeah,
Uh,
you,
w- Last week we compared it to the Luke Skywalker reveal in Mandalorian, where even when the X-wing comes in, you're
yes,
still not 100% sure. You want it to be Luke, but until he pulls that hood back and you see Mark Hamill there, significantly de-aged, there's you don't know for sure, and so even you don't, your mind doesn't want to process what you're seeing in front of you, and it was like that for me until he actually walked out. Like
yeah.
when I saw the stuff come up, I was like, okay, they changed his logo with the lightning bolts and the fist came up on the banner, and I was like, oh god. And then when the music hit, I was a little kid watching wrestling.
Yeah, I was too, man. Here's the thing. I got up in time to watch this because I have to work at 11 p.m. and stuff like that on weeknights, and I got up in time to watch that just so I could see that, and I saw it. And here's what's funny: the minute the two chords started of the song,
Yeah,
everyone knew who it was.
absolutely.
They were like, all right, cult of personality, it's him. But I was trying to debate, was was it louder when that hit, or was it louder when he actually walked up?
It was louder when he walked up
I
because
thought so too.
um, a lot of people have been comparing it to some of the Attitude Era like Austin pops. The reason that's an unfair comparison is a lot of those were in larger buildings.
Yeah.
I think there was 38,000. Correct me if I'm wrong. There, it may have been. That's too many. I think it was 18,000.
There was a good bit.
Yeah. We'll look it up here.
It was a lot though. And it was probably one of the biggest crowds that AEW's performed in front of.
15,000. So I mean, it was a decent sized arena, but like Raw has taken place in larger arenas, right? So
Yeah, Raw,
it's
and they've had Raws and pay-per-views there.
right. So it's unfair to compare it to like an Austin WrestleMania pop or even a larger Raw arena. So I apples to apples on that, but I think it was the loudest pop in the last decade. I mean, it put the whole, like, people were talking about the Cena return pop, and I mean, I have my opinions on that because I'm like, well, you fed them shit for 2 years, so don't be shocked when you give them cough syrup and they enjoy it. Like, you know, Cena's return pop had nothing on that. And here's the thing. Here's how you could tell it was louder when he walked out. When the music hit, the CM Punk chants were huge and the cheers were huge.
Yeah.
But when he walks out on the stage, if you watch it over, you can hear the input on the cameras max out. There's like that almost a little bit of static that happens, where like the camera just can't accept any more louder input, and you can hear it. It redlines the input.
You want to
Um,
know what's an even bigger difference?
What's that?
Here's a bigger difference. And this is not just with Cena's. This is with Brock's and Becky's return. All right. And this is what they didn't do with CM Punk. When CM Punk walked out, all you heard was that crowd. And then you heard JR and you heard Excalibur just make like a few remarks. And even Taz like made just like a few remarks. That was it. When Cena and Becky and Brock came out, it was, oh my God, Cena's here, Becky's here, everyone's going nuts, yay. Punk, nothing. They didn't have to do that. They were like, and I guarantee you, as much shit as JR gets these days, I guarantee you he told everyone at that booth, he was like, quiet.
Yeah. Well, no one would have been able to hear them if they had said anything.
That's true. I mean, but he had to get in his Michael Jordan line.
Right.
Because it fits so perfect. Like everything fits so perfect. They, like Jim Cornette even said it best, they had to cut away to break before he got into the ring. They ran out of song. And you could barely hear the song as it was.
And if you watch the footage like from during the break, the crowd continued to go apeshit until they came back on the air. Yeah.
They did. Like they were going to apeshit until he said something. Like, I mean, and that was all he needed to do. That was all it, like, as much, like I said before, as much as, you know, I love his work and everything inside the ring, where he's the most that people want to see him is cut a promo.
Agreed.
He's just so good at it. He's just so damn good at it. And look, to all the MMA enthusiasms all out there who say like he can't fight and everything, I'm like, it's wrestling. We don't care.
I've only seen one person saying that, and yeah. So yeah, I mean, you know, my thing there too is like, okay, he went to MMA and didn't do well. Okay, that doesn't make him any better or worse of a pro wrestler. Just like Brock Lesnar going to UFC and doing well did not make him a better professional wrestler. If anything, it made him worse.
Yeah, it didn't make Ronda Rousey when she came in good.
Right.
Although she did have a match of the year candidate on one of them, I will say.
What, her and Kurt Angle versus
not that one.
Steph and Triple H?
Not that one. I mean, I did think that one was pretty good the way that they did it. It could have been even better, but like it wasn't that one. I think it was either, and I hate to give this person credit, but her and Charlotte tore down the house at Survivor Series. And then there was one with her and Sasha that was really good.
I called the her and Sasha match. It was really good. Charlotte Flair's matches are usually when I get up and go fix something to eat or fast forward or whatever. Yeah. So, so let's run down this All Out card real quick. We already talked about CM Punk versus Darby Allin and how we kind of would like that to go. There's a women's casino battle royal. I don't have any interest in that. I think there's only two. I'm just going to even say it. There's only two women that can really work in AEW. And it's Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa. Now, Chris Statlander, I think, is probably the third one.
Okay, I was about to say.
But there's a huge gap between 2 and 3.
Yeah.
Like, I like Chris Statlander. I would book Chris Statlander. Like, I think that Chris Statlander is awesome. But I don't think that she is anywhere on the level of like a Sasha Banks or a Bianca Belair or a Britt Baker or a Thunder Rosa. I think there's a ceiling there that she has not gotten past.
I mean, I can see that, but I think that she can get on that level.
Yeah, if Thunder Rosa is in this battle royal, she better win it. That's all I got to say, because the women's championship is going to be Chris Statlander versus Britt Baker. So, like I said, if Thunder Rosa is in that battle royal, she better win it. And if she's not in it, why is she not in it?
True.
We have a steel cage match. It's going to be the Young Bucks versus the winner of the Tag Team Eliminator Tournament.
Jurassic Express.
Yeah, it's gonna be Jurassic Express unless they throw us a huge curveball.
No. It's already confirmed that it's them.
Oh, did they tape it already or something?
No, at Rampage, that was the match that they won. They won the finals.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
I thought I thought
Well,
that I thought they had a semifinal match on Dynamite tonight between
oh,
the Lucha Brothers and who was it
okay.
against?
Okay, never mind then. I could be wrong. I
Yeah,
thought that
yeah. No, no,
was the
no.
match.
No. The Jurassic Express won one side of the bracket. The other side of the bracket was on Dynamite tonight. It was the Varsity versus
Okay.
Lucha Brothers.
Okay, now I got okay.
And just a heads up, that match sucked. You would not think it would, but
Oh,
it was a huge botch fest.
gotcha.
But here's the thing: is they've been building up, like they've been putting Jurassic Express with Christian Cage. Christian Cage is feuding with the Elite. The Elite are feuding with Jurassic Express. Like it's gonna be them. Um,
Um,
so
is real quick though. Is that not good booking?
oh no, I think it's great booking, and I would love to see Jurassic Express win
Yeah.
because they are the most over tag team in the company.
I agree because like everyone says that Jungle Boy, is a future single star, and I agree with him completely. But him and Luchasaurus together right now are over like Rover, and they need to go with that.
Right? Yeah, I agree. Um, okay, so then we have this was announced tonight. This is a Dynamite spoiler, so apologies. But we have
Mhm.
John Moxley versus Satoshi Kojima. Um,
Really?
unfortunately, from what I understand, there's something going on with Tanahashi being able to come to the U.S.
Oh
and
my.
and so they had to change it up, which is unfortunate. Um, I think that'll be a good match. I really don't have any opinion on it right now. I think it's just them giving Moxley something to do. But I think it will be a good match.
Well, I like Moxley. So, and I've
Right.
made that no secret. I like Moxley. I like everything he does. So, because dude, I truly think you've literally got a guy in the industry who can do everything. I mean, he can have a hardcore match, obviously, or a death match, but he can also wrestle. He proved that with the Seth Rollins feud.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I mean, when you watch Dynamite, the promo he cut tonight was great. I mean, it was really good. And I'll tell you, we'll get to him in a minute, but CM Punk aside, John Moxley and Christian Cage have been killing it with their promos on Dynamite.
Yes. Well, Christian's amazing in all
Right.
facets as well. Like he doesn't get like I don't think he gets enough credit for his run in TNA
Oh
because
no, he doesn't. And
he was
well,
the reason that they did really well there for a while.
yeah. And then last week on Dynamite, he said the line to the Young Bucks where he was like, "You can. I don't care if you want to book all your friends that you wrestled in the backyard on a trampoline or whatever." And that was hilarious. And then this week, he told what was it, Don Callis that he was a carny piece of shit. Don Callis did a good job this week too because they brought up the fact that I guess Don Callis like Christian Cage apparently actually wrestled his first match ever for Don Callis like forever ago
Yeah.
in some rinky dink promotion. And then they were talking about how Don Callis fired him, and Don Callis was like, "Well, that just puts me along the names of some of the greatest names in pro wrestling." And he started going Vince McMahon, Dixie Carter, like Vern Gagne, like he was going down the list. And I was like, "Well, shit, I don't like Don Callis, but I can't disagree with him."
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, so
I don't have a problem with Callis. I just think he's a good heel.
I like him as a heel manager for what he's doing. We all know I don't like Kenny Omega, so um, we talked a little bit about the AEW Women's Championship. It's Britt Baker versus Chris Statlander. They haven't given this a lot of attention. As a matter of fact, tonight, I mean, Britt Baker was on Dynamite. Chris Statlander, I didn't see her anywhere, so I don't think she wins. I just don't see it happening. Um, this is an interesting match. Paul White versus QT Marshall.
Yeah, I don't know about that one. I'm like, I don't know about that.
I don't know what they're going to do with this, but I feel like it's going to be something cool. But I don't know what they're going to. I mean, I guess Paul White could just. I mean, he could just squash him, right? I mean, it could just be a squash match, and maybe it sets up something with the factory or whatever. But it's going to be interesting to see what they do, and it's going to be interesting to see if Big Show. Hopefully, Big Show's been in the gym, man, because
Well, if you look at him, he clearly has been.
that's true. I mean, but I don't think he looks. We haven't seen him in his gear, right? So,
Right.
because when he left WWE the last time, he was in amazing shape.
Yeah.
For him.
No, he still was. He did the Netflix show, and he was in great shape.
Yeah, and that was a good show too.
And they killed it.
So this could be a show stealer, especially because I'm pretty sure that Ric Flair is going to accompany him to ringside. We have Pac versus Andrade.
Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to that one.
This could steal this whole thing. They could run away with it because this match could be a damn absolute barn burner. It could just be insane. And yeah, I actually thought Flair was going to show up tonight, because they did a whole deal with Brock Anderson, and everything, and I was like, well, if anybody's going to show up to help the Andersons, it's Rick. But they kind of blew it with how they played it out. But I think if they're going to do anything with Rick, then they're going to have him come out with Andrade at All Out.
Yeah, two things about that, real quick. One, how did Brock look in his debut? Brock Anderson.
Right. He looked good. I mean, not great, but he's an Anderson, and not of the Ole variety.
Like
So
he's got potential.
right. I mean, he's not great yet, but I mean, he's
Right.
only had a few matches, so
Yeah.
he's not there yet, and he probably shouldn't have been in this spot. But I understand why they did it.
Yeah. Second of all, if Ric Flair does come to AEW, and think about this, there is going to be a moment where you're going to see Ric Flair, Sting, and Arn Anderson on TNT again.
Wow. I mean,
Think about that.
I don't necessarily know if Rick will, quote unquote, come to AEW. I don't know what they do with Chavo, right? Like Andrade already has like two managers.
Well, yeah.
So I don't think he needs a third manager unless Chavo's gonna work again, like and actually be like a in ring kind of like partner type deal. I don't know. But you can't have a faction with three managers and one worker.
Yeah.
That'd just be weird. But if they bring in Rick, he's gonna want to work with Andrade. And I don't know, man. Maybe he just comes in for All Out right now, and then maybe they do something with him down the road. But seeing him and Sting and Arn at the same time, I mean, I think at a certain point, here's the thing. There's nothing stopping Adam Cole from debuting it All Out either.
So you think he's coming?
Have you watched NXT?
So, all right. I know that he is that was his last night. And by the way, before we go on with that, I just have to say though, anytime if you're a promoter and you book Kyle O'Reilly versus Adam Cole, I'm gonna go buy a ticket to watch that.
Yeah, agreed. And it was a damn good. I mean, I actually watched Takeover. I
They
only
both
watched
have matched
those.
each other.
Yeah, I only watched those two matches. I watched him and Kyle, and of course, I watched the main
I know
event.
you watched your boy win the title, right?
Yeah, three time, three time, three time.
Yeah, and then Cross shows up looking like a knockoff version of Demolition.
Yeah, he's done. Um,
Um,
so all
unfortunately,
right, going down the line here because I do not want to talk about WWE. Samoa Joe, congrats.
no,
Uh,
but real quick though, like so. Is there a confirm that he has departed from WWE? Because I'm not convinced that he's gone from WWE.
all the dirt sheets, all the rumors are saying he's done and that his contract ends on Friday, and that he does not have a non compete. So
Okay.
he could show up. Theoretically, he could show up on Rampage. He could show up on Dynamite next week. Um, and when we get done going through this card, I want to talk about something CM Punk said tonight, because that's going to get spoiled for you on social media anyway. But before we get to that, let's finish going through All Out here. Chris
Okay.
Jericho versus MJF. It was announced tonight that if Chris Jericho loses, he will retire from wrestling.
Ooh, could Chris be finally hanging it up?
Honestly, I hope he loses. I hope MJF beats him.
Yeah.
Because Jericho has to know that he cannot compete at the level he used to.
Not with everyone else coming in now.
And unless Jericho wants another match with Punk, which would be good, I'm not arguing that it wouldn't.
Yes, it
Or
would.
or he wants a match with Sting, like either one of those things would be great. But other than that, I don't know where he goes. I If Chris Jericho retires in 2 weeks, there is absolutely no shame in that. Like, he will have gone down as having one of the most legendary careers ever.
And who better to put over?
Right. I mean, MJF, I really think I don't think Jericho's going to lose. Like, I think they're throwing that stipulation in there because they want people to think, oh, well, Jericho's hanging it up. I think Jericho's going to win. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Like, I would pop for it either way, but I prefer an MJF win because then we're going to get Jericho on commentary, which would be great because that's already what he said he wants to do.
And
Um,
I truly believe that we need to get because here's what I would have done with Rampage. I'd have put him and Shivani together and just have it be those two because they got a lot of praise when they did the pandemic episodes. Like, because it was
yep.
them on commentary because JR, like Tony Khan, didn't feel comfortable with JR traveling like that.
Right.
So he just had, and Tony Schiavone only lived like an hour away. So he had him and Jericho came in and they did commentary. And it was like some of the best commentary that you had heard in a while.
It was good. Yeah, I think he'll be great at it. I don't know if now's the time, but I would totally accept it. If Jericho retires it all out, I'm not going to be sitting there going, man, I really wish Jericho had hung around because he's not going to get any better than where he is right now. And with the style of wrestling that he does, like, you can't do it forever. You know?
No, you can already tell he has trouble getting fully over with his flip.
Yeah.
At times. Like it scares me at times. I'm like, dude.
Yeah, he's on up there, and I think he really should take some time out of the ring because he's got to be working hurt too, man. I just think I think he's probably got a lot of bumps and bruises, and I want to say that All Out is that 3 years since All In, or is it 2 years?
3.
Yeah, so I think it'd be the perfect time.
I think so too.
I mean, he could be the first person inducted into like the AEW Hall of Fame.
Yeah. Yeah, he definitely could. I mean, either way, I think it'll be good. I kind of just see it being typical, him going over, but if he does put MJ over in that instance, then I think it'll be the perfect heel move for MJF. And then at some point, MJF needs, they need to keep that stable around him, or they need to find like some better people or something like that. And then he needs to get the title at some point and go on a long and annoying run.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
even if he doesn't get the title yet,
Well, that
give him the TNT Championship.
yeah, that too. Well, like a title and have it like it be a long, annoying run, like piss people off with it. I wouldn't have him. I'd have him champion for a full entire year at least.
Yeah. We have Kenny Omega versus Christian Cage in the main event for the AEW Championship.
That's
If
gonna be
this if this is the main event, personally, I would hate to follow Punk and Darby. Um, if I'm if
Chicago.
if I'm booking this, that's the main event is Punk and Darby. Um, I would let. I would probably do the title like right before semi main, and then I would make the semi main like Moxley and Kojima or something like that, a different type of match, and then or maybe even QT and Paul White, because the crowd is going to be dead after Punk and Darby, and it's in
Yes.
as we said, it's in Chicago. I think that the fact that this is not being billed as title versus title and it's only for the AEW Championship gives it away that Kenny is going to win.
Yeah, probably.
I don't think Christian goes over on him twice. If so, I mean, it's been booked masterfully because if Christian Cage beats him again, because everybody's going, well, Christian's not going to beat him again. Everybody was saying, well, Christian's just going to drop it back to him at All Out, talking about the Impact title. Well, they never made this match title versus title, so
They do have another Rampage and another Dynamite before it, so
well, the word is that Kenny's not going back to Impact for a while. So, I think Kenny goes over here. I'll hate it, but I think he goes over.
either way, it's going to be a damn good match because Christian is amazing, and I like Kenny Omega. Can't help it.
Yeah.
I like him being a heel, though. I'll say that. I like him being a heel in this instance because I'm just like, well, since everyone hates him, they did the smart thing. Okay. They
Right.
didn't try to ram it. They didn't make him a John Cena. You have to admit that. They did not try to make him a face or a Roman Reigns for that instance. They did not try to make him a face and shove him down our throats. They were like, okay, well, clearly everyone hates him, and here you go. That's a perfect heel champion then. And
It's working with the Bucks too. I mean,
yeah,
they're way better characters as heels because they're kind of obnoxious pricks anyway,
yeah.
and it just works. So
Yeah, it really does. And look at how popular it's made Jurassic Express going into this.
correct. So the moment I wanted to mention earlier, and then we can wrap up talking about AEW. Tonight during Punk's promo, the crowd starts giving him a yes chant.
Oh.
And Punk says, well, that's somebody else's stick, but so you might have to be a little more patient for that one. And the look on his face, he was like he was giving away a big spoiler. So, I think Daniel Bryan is probably a lock, but it'll be after All Out or maybe at All Out.
Well, then here's another question. Do you think Bray Wyatt's headed here?
I do. And that's the thing though is okay. Let's say Adam Cole, Bray Wyatt, and Bryan Danielson. Let's say they all show up.
Yeah.
All right. So let's say Jericho steps down. Adam Page is having a kid, right? So he's not going to be around for a while. His push is done. So that's 2 spots. Somebody else is going to have to go at a minimum. So it's going to be, I feel like it's going to be your up and coming guys like, Brian Cage, Ricky Starks, like those type of folks. I think they're going to, they're going to get pushed off, but that's fine because they have Rampage now and they have Dark So it's not like those guys got to be gone, but them having more big stars on Dynamite is not going to hurt.
No, absolutely not. And then those guys working with those big stars is going to help them. It's going to help elevate them. Like Darby Allin, let's face it, is going to help. Like, you don't even need to tune in and see the matchup to know that he's going to be a bigger star coming out of this than when he entered.
I want to see Adam Cole versus MJF.
Oh God, let's see which one's the bigger prick.
Right.
And
Yeah.
here's the thing: I would have neither one of them be face. I would have them both as heel going into that matchup.
Adam Cole's going to get a face reaction, though.
He will, but he's going to get that regardless.
Right.
Like, I don't think if anyone has ever noticed this about Adam Cole, right? He's never, the only time he was ever a face in Ring of Honor was when he first started with Kyle O'Reilly and they were Future Shock and then they broke off and he started to be, and like he was a baby face, but that wasn't really working. Like he was just like too much of a pretty boy or something like that. And then he won the championship. Ever since then, he's never played face. The
Yeah, I
crowd
mean,
likes him.
yeah, in NXT, he's been a heel the whole time. And he's like one of the most over people, man. I
Yeah.
mean, just over, like, just on a different level there. He is, I mean, Adam Cole is a smaller guy, but he is a star. You cannot take that from him.
No,
And,
he looks like a star. He act like he sounds like a star. Like
yeah,
his promos are amazing. That's the thing. Like you said, he's been a heel the whole time. It's just literally the crowd cannot boo him. They boo him at times when it comes to like other people that they like, such as Kyle O'Reilly or even Aleister Black when he fought him and stuff like that. But like, no, Cole still got those reactions. I mean, I'd say one of the loudest chants I've heard was the Adam Cole baby.
yeah.
Like that thing is truly over. And I don't think WWE or even NXT really even took advantage of how much that was over.
Yeah, I mean, if he shows up at AEW, I mean, that's going to be so loud because those fans know who he is.
They are.
Uh,
And here's the thing, like I said, I posted on Facebook the game changer line when Punk came out and everything. If Cole and Bray Wyatt and Daniel Bryan come to AEW, WWE might as well like realize no, they're competition for you, and you know it.
well, I have an opinion on that. So here's the thing, and a lot of people have said this, like, "Oh, it's over for WWE," blah 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 blah. But
I didn't
if
say
you,
it was over.
well, no, but if you look at their stock price, right, it's
Right.
unaffected by all this. And here's the reason why: WWE has not been a pro wrestling company in 20 years.
Yeah.
WWE is I mean, they've been a pro wrestling company. I won't say 20 years, probably at least 10 to 15 years. Today, though, and for the last, I'd say, when did the network come out? 5, 6 years ago?
Yeah, and 14.
Yeah, so ever since then, they are a content creation company.
Yes.
That is what they do. They do not give a shit about pro wrestling fans. And while that is unfortunate, I think it is in everybody's best interest, if you consider yourself a pro wrestling fan, to stop expecting them to give you anything that you want, because they're not going to. It's just not going to happen. If you like pro wrestling at this point in time, and you want a mainstream product, AEW is your only choice. There are fringe options for you. You can go watch Ring of Honor. You're not going to have anybody to talk to about it but us. But you can go watch Ring of Honor. You can go watch Impact. You're not going to have anybody to talk to about that.
MLW.
Yeah, I mean, there are options out there for you. I mean, hell, turn on, Pro Wrestling TV, and you can watch whatever you want. You can watch all the indies all day long. But, if you want a mainstream product and you're a pro wrestling fan, you're going to watch AEW, and odds are they're going to have something for you. WWE is going to be fine for the foreseeable future. Now, the massive tide change, it will cost them viewers. And I think when they renegotiate their TV deal, if they ever renegotiate, because what's very likely going to happen is NBC is going to buy them. And so there's going to be no more TV deal negotiations.
Nope.
They will just be on, and that'll be it. I mean, SmackDown will probably move to USA or whatever.
It'd probably be Peacock.
It might be Peacock only. Yeah, I mean NXT definitely will go that route. I don't know how they are going to divvy that up. I just know that I won't watch it. Uh, that's how it's going to go. Like I said, there's no company in the world right now that can give you 10 to 15 hours a week of original content. It doesn't exist. You cannot get it anywhere. That's WWE's value. When you look at that stock price, it has nothing to do with their ability to put on a pro wrestling show.
Yeah, and I get that, and I've been saying that for a while about WWE. I get it. They're not a pro wrestling company. AEW is. That doesn't mean though, like right now though, no one can deny that AEW has a bunch of momentum, and that is tremendous for the pro wrestling game right now. It's not only good for AEW, obviously, but it's also good, believe it or not, obviously for Impact Wrestling, for MLW, for NWA. I mean, NWA is going back to St. Louis in one of the arenas that the NWA made famous, and Ric Flair is going to be there.
Yeah.
Think about that. Ric Flair is going to return to the NWA. Like, you talk about a time warp.
Yeah. Yeah.
like,
It's gonna be a big deal, and I think here's the thing: losing pro wrestling fans to AEW may not hurt WWE, but it certainly helps AEW. And if AEW starts putting up, you know, a million, 1,500,000, 2,000,000 ratings on a regular basis, when they renegotiate their TV deal, they're getting the cash. And a lot of people aren't talking about it, but AEW has got some overseas TV deals recently.
Yep. Yeah.
And that's where a lot of the money's at too. So what we see on the screen, that's the product, but it doesn't tell the whole picture of the business. If I had to guess, I don't think AEW has been profitable a single day thus far, but I think it's on the way there. I think a lot of these pay-per-views have made money. The last one certainly did, and All Out, man, I cannot wait to see the buy numbers for All Out.
Oh yeah, it's going to be the biggest one by far. But they have made a lot of money off of merchandise.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's going to be the biggest WWE. I mean, not WWE. It's going to be the biggest wrestling pay-per-view since 2014 when the network came in. It's probably going to be the biggest wrestling pay-per-view since well before that, to be completely honest, because I don't know what WrestleMania 30 would have been on the network, right? So
yeah,
it would have been before that. What 27?
Yeah, pretty much.
Would have maybe been that, or 28, which would have been.
It would have to be the one with Cena and Rock the first time.
Yeah,
probably.
So.
But here's the thing, because you said something about this, right? Obviously, wrestling fans going to AEW or MLW or any of these products, right? It's not going to hurt WWE. And here's why. Wrestling fans are never going to turn their backs on WWE completely. Why? Because one of the things wrestling fans, just like comic book fans, as you could probably attest to, love nostalgia. And everything that was popular about wrestling, a lot of it is in WWE. So no one's ever going to fully go away from them. Like, even I'm not, kind of thing. Because some of the best stuff that made me a wrestling fan did happen in WWE, So That's what, and so like just to add on to what you said and everything like that, not just the fact of they're a content provider and everything like that, which is not a bad thing. It's just provide good content. Um,
Right.
like that's just
Yeah.
my thing.
They're
Is
not even remotely concerned about that, clearly.
No, clearly. But anyways, it's just cool to see where everything's at. It's great to know that other things can be profitable in wrestling other than WWE, which was the problem for the longest time. It wasn't the fact of that it was just WWE, it was the fact of nothing else was profitable. There would always be some big billionaire saying that, oh yeah, I'm going to start this wrestling company and I'm going to pay these millions of dollars. And, then that obviously never happened, and then TNA started up and it looked like that was profitable, but then that, everything quickly fell off with that. So like now it's like CM Punk said it kind of best. Like now there's other places where you can go to work and make money other than WWE, which is great for the wrestling business. That's what the wrestling business needs.
I agree, 100%. Yeah, so it's good.
Yeah.
It's good for the whole business. It's good for the fans, and I hope that things continue to kind of go this way. We'll see how it shakes out because every time you hire a ex WWE guy, even if it's a young guy, one of your talents has to take a seat, and that is something that we've got to be mindful of going forward. But I mean, hell, we could do an episode of people I would cut from the AEW roster. Uh,
But
you know,
we'd lose everybody.
maybe we might.
I know who we'd lose right off the bat.
Yeah, I mean, I can't. Somebody the other day we were talking about this exact topic, and I said I can tell you 20 people right now I would cut from AEW, and they were like, "You got 20 off the top of your head right now?" I was like, "Yeah, yeah, I
Yeah,
do."
I know you do. I know
So
you do. But you know what? Tony Khan, though, has prided himself right now that he actually has not had to make any roster cuts or anything
yeah,
like that. Now he probably will have to do that. And trust me, he knows that. I mean, come on, he's the owner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. He knows all about cutting people and stuff like that. So eventually he's going to have to do that. But right now, if he doesn't have to, he doesn't have to.
yeah. I mean, I can say it real quick. I would cut Marco Stunt, Private Party,
There you
all the wingmen except for Drake. Right off the rip, I would cut. Assuming that I could get some people from Impact and from WWE, I would cut every woman on the roster except for the three that we named earlier.
Yes, and I would go get Rosemary and Jordan Gracie,
Yep, absolutely. Um,
and hell, even Havoc.
yep. I would get all of them. I would cut. I hate to say it, man, but I would cut the Lucha Brothers.
Why?
Dude, I mean, their matches as of late, and don't get me wrong, I was a big fan of them, but they're like, I don't know what else they're gonna do in AEW. Like, they've been on TV so consistently for the entire lifespan of it, and here lately, man, their matches have been very botchy. Like when you watch Dynamite from tonight, there was a lot of botches in there, and I just don't know what you do with them. Like, what's their place on the roster? If you're gonna keep them around just to have a decent tag team around, that's cool. I like that they split up Kazarian and Scorpio Sky, and they're having them do their own thing. Um,
Yes.
I would I would cut Brian Cage. I think he's like got the Vince McMahon big guy thing. I don't know where he's gonna go. And I'm not saying any of these people that I'm cutting are like terrible or whatever. I'm just saying in the overall like,
You
you
don't
know,
have anything for him right now.
right. And I don't know that they're on TV every week people. I don't know what you do with them. You know. I think they're all capable of having like good matches on Dark and things like that. But there's a lot of issues. I would cut half the Dark Order. I would cut most of the Factory. Uh, you know, there's a lot of people just standing around at AEW.
I would not cut John Silver though.
No, and you notice how Marco Stunt was the first person I mentioned.
Yeah, I mean, look, I get that, and he really is just there with the Jurassic Express.
There, like anyone who can walk can do his job in AEW.
Yeah, and I don't even think the Jurassic Express needs him.
They don't. What for? What is he their mascot? Like what? Like I don't understand. It's a
I
jungle. It's a jungle boy and a fucking Velociraptor man, and a fucking random indie kid. Like I don't. 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 I hope he's not being paid very much.
I get it.
So.
Like I get it. But again, if even if they do cut some of these people, and technically that's why I think that Tony Khan has those relationships now with the NWA and Impact Wrestling. That way, if he's like, hey, I don't have something for this person, here you go, kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Right.
Like that's not a bad thing. That's a good thing.
Agreed.
And that's kind of like the old days with the territory system in a way.
Right. And that was good for wrestlers because you would go to a place and you would stay there for a while and make money, and then you would move on, and then you'd be fresh again.
Yeah.
And then when you came back, it was a big deal, and then you'd make some more money, and then you'd go move on again. So,
And that's why I think like it's not necessarily a bad thing that all these names are coming over. And yes, that's why I don't think there's necessarily going to be talent cuts. It's just they're just going to move on to Impact Wrestling or New Japan or AAA or all these other or NWA, because NWA now is going to need some talent.
right.
And Corgan is going to want to negotiate with Khan on some talent.
Yeah, they've been picked clean. So, hopefully we see the Dawsons back there, though. I would very much like to see that.
I would like to see them there as well. And like I said, I don't think it's going to be, they cut a bunch of people like WWE and have nowhere for them to go kind of thing. Like now there's places for, and like, I don't think it's, like I said, going to be just you cut them. It's going to be, people are going to trade talent back and forth, which is going to be a great thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think it takes a very special person to be good on TV that consistently. I mean, that's why like Randy Orton is so boring, or even Reigns, or I mean, it's just we can't miss you if you won't go away.
Exactly.
I think if you're gonna be on TV for every week or every other week or whatever for years at a time, every now and then you're gonna have to. I mean, every 2-3 years you need to take 6 months and not be
Yeah.
on TV. Go work in Japan or whatever. But you need to be off TV because otherwise you're going to get stale.
Right.
You know.
But now it's different. That's what I'm saying. Now like,
Yeah.
now it's going to be good because they can have that opportunity and they can still get paid and make a living.
Yeah, I mean in the WWE system where it's like you wrestle for us and you don't wrestle for anybody else, you don't have the option to do that. You either have to ask for your release or you have to, get into a situation where you sit home and you really do lose your spot.
Right.
And it's not good for the talent. It's not good for the business, really.
Right.
Um,
And I know that we're going long here, but I have to ask this question, okay? Because Punk has mentioned them in a lot of interviews, which is Ring of Honor.
yeah,
Do you think at all he could show up in Ring of Honor?
I think it's possible. I think he'd blow the building off he'd blow the roof off the building if he did.
Oh, he would by far, but I believe he wants to make an appearance in Ring of Honor. I really do, because if you listen to him, he loves that company.
He does, but I don't think. I think Tony would let him do it, but I don't think it would be anytime soon, because right now, that being the only place you can see CM Punk is a huge deal. That's what he's worth right now.
Yeah, Absolutely.
So,
Like I'm not
but
saying,
eventually, yeah, I don't see Tony Khan stopping him.
and I can't wait if Daniel Bryan comes in as well, or
Right.
Bryan Danielson.
Right. Well, I'm glad that we live in an era where we can talk about AEW for an hour and I'm not pissed off about any of it.
I know, right?
Uh,
Hell,
that
really frozen over. You and Jim Cornette didn't say anything bad about AEW.
Hey, there's a shameless plug. So speaking of hell freezing over, hell is gonna freeze over. The our good buddies at the Tapped Out Wrestling Podcast are having their show on September the 17th in Canton, Georgia. You should definitely check it out. It's gonna have promotions from all over the Southeast. It's gonna be Viral Pro Wrestling, Southern Honor Wrestling. Let's see who else. Disruptor Pro. I mean, there's just gonna be a lot of companies there. A lot of titles on the line. It's going to be really like a once in a lifetime sort of thing, and it's for their 5th anniversary, and you should definitely go check it out. They've got a
Yeah,
lot of like really high profile matches announced already, so check it out. I think that's going to be a great show.
I
Um,
looked at that card and I'm very impressed with that. Like that looks like an awesome show. I'd like to give one more shameless plug then, real quick, for another company
okay,
because they booked this matchup. All right, PWX.
no, no, no,
I'm sorry, I
no,
have to.
no,
All
no, nope.
right, all right.
No,
I won't go any further.
no. Nobody knows who the fuck that is.
Okay.
I mean, I know you do, but like nobody knows who that is.
All right. Well, can I just say the matchup that they
Yeah,
booked?
go for it. Go for
Okay.
it.
All
Nobody
right.
who watches this show is going to know who it is either.
Okay. Well, Minoru Suzuki versus Anthony Henry was announced.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a good match, but what it costs to bring Suzuki in and the amount
I,
of people who know who he is those numbers don't match up.
I'm
So,
sure. Like I'm sure. And look, I knew it the minute I said it, but look, still, that match though, that's awesome.
oh, it'll be a great match for Henry,
Yeah.
and people will show up for Henry. Um, Henry's going to be doing cool stuff, but you know, like that's a dream match for him, and I'm glad he's getting it. It doesn't make sense from a business point of view. Like
Yeah.
literally nobody knows who the fuck Suzuki is. So more power to them, I guess. Uh, One other thing I want to mention, next week, hopefully we'll be able to record. I have Dragon Con next week, which I'm very excited about. I will be there with our good friends, the superhero homies.
Mhm.
It's possible that we might shoot some stuff just talking about the convention and how things are going. We are definitely going to be going to the Diamond Dallas Page panel, where I will get to sit there and listen to him tell stories for an hour and a half, aka the best part of my weekend.
I was about to say you will just be like a giddy schoolgirl. You just be like,
Yeah, I will. I will. And also, we will be going to Dragon Con Wrestling and a bunch of other stuff. So, um, keep an eye out for that. If we record some content while we're there, we'll put it out. Uh, but other than that, it's going to be a busy couple of weeks. So I'm really excited. And as you could tell from tonight's episode, we're both really excited about the wrestling business.
yeah, man. And you know something, I've got something else coming up in a couple of weeks. I'm going to see Beartooth and Wage War at the Masquerade.
Yeah, man, we talked about that. And
That's gonna be on a Thursday night when we usually record. So
what do you know what's the date on it?
September 9th.
It's tonight. Got it. Yeah, that's going to be a dicey time period because I will be at the beach the following week. So, yeah. So if you don't see a show come out for a couple weeks, you know what's going on is we just decided fuck it and went on vacation before COVID locks us all inside for the winter.
Yeah,
So,
pretty much.
All right. Well, in that case, I'm happy as fuck that CM Punk is back and that things are kicking off in the wrestling business. Caleb, thank you for joining me here each and every week, man. I greatly appreciate it.
Dude, you know I am excited as the man who consume more content than any of you in wrestling. I consume more, and I'm excited though because I feel like when I was a kid and there were multiple options of wrestling. You know, there was also WCW, and then there was the ECW, and now, you know, there's even more than that. It feels like there's not just AEW there for me. There's MLW, there's Ring of Honor, there's New Japan, there's Impact. It's all this great stuff, and I love it. I just love the fact that the wrestling business is thriving, and that we don't look like a copied version now of The Wrestler with Mickey Rourke. Like,
Yeah.
that's what I feel like everyone took from that movie, was that was what the wrestling business was like. And I'm like, that's bullshit if it is. So now, like, I feel like there's places for people to make money and to, you know, learn their craft and everything like that. And I'm excited that CM Punk is back. I am a Punk fan. I've made it no secret. I love Punk. So I'm excited, dude. And you know, I'm an AEW fan. So I love it. I am totally stoked on it.
Yeah, man. I agree, and there's been times where the business has been like that movie,
Yeah.
but the upper reaches of our business now are not like that. So I'm very happy for that, and thanks for sticking with us, everybody. This has been an Evolved Review.